Matthew 25:44 through 46. Then they too answer, Lord, when did we see you hungry, or thirsty, or a stranger, or naked, or ill, or in prison, and did not serve you? You know, those who look for excuses out of serving will never see the opportunities to serve once they're given it. They'll only complain about, others usually, and what others don't do, and they'll never see the opportunity that the Lord gives them themselves, because they're not following after Him. They're just following their own way, this group of people here. So they're noticing more of what the others aren't doing than what they should be doing. And it takes their focus off their life, their guilt, and puts it towards somebody else. So this group of people didn't notice the opportunities they had to serve because they were focused on those other people of how they missed theirs. And another thing is they didn't know how to serve because they didn't have the Lord to serve. So all they saw was something they could do to build themselves up rather than an act of service. Oftentimes people of the world may do great things, but you look at who it builds up, they get the credit. When we serve, it's simply to serve and build the kingdom of Christ. This group of people would have never seen an opportunity to serve the Lord. They would have seen an opportunity to do this and make themselves look better. Then He will answer them, I assure you, insofar as you failed to do it to one of the least of these, you failed to do it to me. So He's saying, because you didn't serve them, His own, it's a reference to His, or not necessarily those that are His at this point, but it may be looking at it as because they didn't do this, they didn't aid in bringing them to Him. So because of them when we're not serving the way we're supposed to, it could affect people coming to the Lord. And this group of people would have been doing that. They would have neglected the needs of people, neglected service, and this would have turned people away from the church, and they would have went other places to those that could help them with what they needed. And oftentimes, that's why the church is to be charitable, but we need to be taken advantage of, because whether they are going to come back or not, us rejecting people, it turns them away. Now, the Lord can use our service to help them, especially if they're truly in need. But sometimes it ain't going to work that way. You know, we see how Jesus showed love to people, and sometimes they would come back to Him, and sometimes they'd follow Him, and sometimes He didn't. He didn't show love necessarily to bring them in. He hoped it did, and He wanted it to, but He showed love to them and helped them because they needed help in His love. You know, as Christians, the Lord died on the cross, whether we're going to, we can go to Him whether we want to or not. It's available for us to go to Him. He did it the same. But that doesn't necessarily mean everybody's going to go to Him, because they ain't. But He still died the same as an act of love. And we're to do this with our service. We're to show love regardless of how it's going to affect them. We trust in the Lord to take advantage of it. These people here, this group, did not trust in the Lord. The Lord wasn't in anything they did because they didn't have the Lord. We see that in the earlier part, and we see that in this next verse. And when people don't have the Lord, it don't matter what they do, they're not serving Him, because without Him you can't serve Him. And that's where this group of people fell into. Verse 46, and they will go away into eternal punishment, but the righteous in eternal life. We see earlier the group of people, how He divides the people. The ones on the right go into eternal life because they're the ones serving Him. And then the ones on the left. The ones on the left may have been looking for opportunities to do something. But when you're serving Him, the opportunities are just going to come your way. The opportunities that came their way, they didn't see as opportunities because they didn't have Him to show them to them. They just saw people in need, people begging. Well, the ones on the right saw these people in need and begging, and the love of the Lord was upon them to help them. And that's the way we are to be. You know, it's very hard to bring somebody to the Lord when they're hungry. Oftentimes, Jesus met the physical need and used that to bring them to Him. And we're to do that the same.